Hello and welcome to vWALL and welcome to the vWALL community. This video is designed to get you up and running as quickly as you can. Well, probably it'll take you about 15 minutes to watch it from start to finish, but after that you should be set to go. So assuming you've now taken on a trial or a new license, you should have arrived at this screen. First thing you need to do is press on New Project. I'd like to keep my projects under client names or separate sort of funnels, and then bring them into more detail from that. So I'm going to call this client one. And you saw there that vWALL automatically remembers previous entries. So conditional logic, you sometimes don't have to carry on typing things because it's already remembered it for the last session. So I'm going to open up this new client. And then often under a client, I put it under a separate project or event name or a date. So I'm just going to pick this one as Tuesday, the 1st of December, for example. So we're kind of ready to go. Just in this particular box, you can see you can remove the session. It does ask you to confirm or not before you can do that. You can copy a session. So if you like this session, you can copy it again in the future. And then over here, you can see how many topics or polls we've already got open. But we're going to open this up now. And then the main area that we start off with is to really get your settings right. You can allow people to see different colored posts, either pink, yellow, green, or blue. You can allow people to upload images by toggling this across or not. And you can also allow participants to see each other's posts. I'd normally start this with the toggle bar off because we'd like to see individual posts first to see cognitively what they're individually thinking. And then maybe after a couple of minutes, you might move the bar across and say, would you like to see everybody else's posts? And by doing that, you see exactly what everything. Let's say you had 59 other people, you'd see 59 other people's comments suddenly flood the wall. But it's so simple to do as a facilitator to come out of the wall, allow the toggle bar to go across, and then you can suddenly flood everybody else's wall with all those other posts. This one's really important to allow participants to switch topics either themselves or not. Normally as the facilitator, I don't let people toggle themselves because we want them to focus on the particular wall. And curiosity says most people would like to see what's next. Actually, we want to make sure they focus only on the wall that we're working on. Often, if you have it open for a session in advance, vWALL allows you to open up a session way before the actual live session, so perhaps 4 or 5 days in advance. You could say to people, look, I've got 4 questions already in the wall. Please go across and toggle between the 4 questions and start posting content. So as the facilitator, you could then close it maybe 24 hours before the actual session and start to already group or theme some of the topics or posts that people have started to post. And then this one's important at the bottom here. We really like to be proud of the anonymity and the psychological safety that vWALL gives you by not identifying the participants. The introvert or the extrovert has equal weight with vWALL, but if you want to, you can put this across and also make sure that the invitation is to the individual recipient. And then when you have the report, you can see which particular participants did or didn't post. Okay, so you're kind of ready to go there. You can also pick the style of your wall, whether or not it's a whiteboard or a paper board. And then also with your invitations, you can import it from an Excel or a CSV file, or you can manually invite people. So if I just put Doug here, there's a previous invitation I've got there. It remembers it from the past. I've got him in there, and I can now create the invite. Here's a template that we give you as a standard. You can adapt this for yourself, or you can take the individual URL from the screen that I'll show you in a minute, put that into an email and invite people that way. So we're going to create that, off it goes, send it, and now that will be received by Doug. So we're kind of ready to go on this one, apart from the fact we want to set up our topics. Topics are very simple. You just literally type in there. The first topic, I normally make it quite easy so people can actually get to grips with the technology quickly. So something like, where are you today, for example? And then you can just keep adding your topics. Next topic, for example, and you keep going that way. And obviously you can delete them or you can move them around depending on how you want to configure your topics on the day. So if you're worried, oh, I've got another topic, you don't have to actually think I have to rebuild the whole wall. You can just move it around so that they come in the sequence you want. So that's kind of how you get set up and ready. What I'm going to do now is show you a bit more detail on some other walls that I've already built, so you can see how we can use the functionality of the wall as a facilitator. So here we go. We're going to open this one up. On this one, we've now got 9 topics already loaded in, and you can see the URL here. To enable this to happen in a Zoom session, you would literally take the URL, copy it, and then put that into a chat and tell people that the chat is now there. Click on the URL and you'll see exactly what we can see, which I'll show you how to do that as a participant facilitator. So to see what the participants are actually seeing, press on this gray cog over here, show link, and click on the link there. And you can now see exactly what they would have been seeing had you taken that URL, put it in the Zoom chat. This is what they'll be seeing. And if you do want to, you can facilitate and participate at the same time by toggling back and forth between the 2 tabs at the top in your browser. And also as the facilitator, if you've got lots and lots of content, you can zoom up or you can zoom down. And if you're screen sharing to enable people to see this better, when you're actually revealing the results, that's how you can show smaller or larger content. So this is how we are in a wall. Down on the left-hand side here, you have a number of icons. The first icon is the padlock. I would normally always leave this open. If you do lock it, it means that nobody can participate or post anything on the wall now. And sometimes you forget to open it up, so I would generally leave that open. The second one is the polling function. This enables you to take a quick snapshot of a result from everybody on the day. So for example, these are participant posts that I've already put in. You can just see how this works. So let's put another country in here that we've not already put across. So say Portugal. And I'm now going to just actually spell that wrong. So as the delegate, you can correct it yourself that way by them doing it. And really, I try to get the delegates to do all the work for me. But if you wanted to, I'm just going to put another one in. And let's just say that's a spelling mistake, because the facilitator, I can also go in and amend that to be the right spelling as well that way. So either way, you can fix it. But we've got a number of countries there, so we could actually start to group these if we wanted to. So to group something, it's this icon down here. I'm going to put Italy and these 2 Italys in a group. And now I'm going to take a vote on the other countries. So where else might we like to go on our brilliant international conference that we're going to do in 2021, when we will get back to traveling again. So we're going to make a decision between Spain, Portugal, Greece, and France. And you can see we've actually got 2 Spains there. So we're going to run a poll on those 4 countries, and we're going to ask people to allocate points. And these are our 4 options. We're going to allocate, let's just say 6 points. I'm going to run the poll. So now just tell the participants to go to the polling function. You can see there's a poll open there. Ask them to cast their votes by adding in their particular points, submit. And as the facilitator, let's say we had 20 people doing this, we would see that 20 ballots have now been received, and we could close the poll. And there we are. That's the result for us to see as the facilitator. And we can quickly share that with the group by asking them to click back on the poll, and you'll see instantly they've got the results. So that's how quickly you can make decisions with vWALL. We've now asked them where they want to go on holiday. We've identified we've got a front runner and a second runner. Okay, we're now going to choose between Greece and Italy, and we can now go off and do another poll based on those 2 particular countries. So that's how that works. If, let's say, you've suddenly got in a real mess here as a facilitator and you started putting all this all over the place and you had loads of content in here, the second button here just tidies it up lovely for you. Press that and it tidies it all up for you. The third one here is a word cloud. To demonstrate that, I'm going to just move along on this post. This is something I've already set up. And an example here. In one word, how was the session today from 1 to 10? And as the facilitator, it's just a guide here. It's really important that you ask people to put their posts up with 1 word per post-it, as if they were putting a post-it up on a wall. And sometimes people try to put too many words on the post-its. Remember, this is just like a post-it in a real session, 1 word per post-it. So if we press the Wordle here, we can quickly see that it's made a brilliant little Wordle of the waiting for the session. So we can see that 8 is the most weighted session. We could play with it a little bit if we wanted a different text or a different format based on your company font. We could do that, and it's going to change it. We can move it around a little bit. And if we wanted to move out some statistical bias, we think, well, maybe 1, we'll take that out and we'll move that out. And maybe we should take out 10 as well, perhaps. I would not really encourage doing this, but I'm just showing you how quickly you can move around and play with the Wordle. Now, the Wordle doesn't come off in a report. It comes off as a separate JPEG. Press that, and it downloads the JPEG for you. And the fourth option is the grouping function. Now, this one is one where we would encourage groups to come in from a different theme. So I've asked people here, what do you think of when you see this image? So if we just start to put some content around that. So there we go. We've got some topics on that. And I'm just going to put a few more items on here just so we can see that we've got a bit of commonality. So as the facilitator, we can now start to group these. So we can see we've got hot, sunny, warm, and hot there. So we could just put those into a group, and we could call that group whatever we want to call it. We could call that weather, for example. And that's quickly how you can put things into groups. The other thing that we could do is maybe we could ask them holiday, where else do they want to go on holiday, however you want to do it on that particular session. And here's another one we could do. So I remember we can't put too many words in the topic, but we could download the words by preloading the wall with more content. And we would do that as if we were a participant first and put this in as a post. And then say to people, what do we think of this vision statement? So on this one here, we might say too long, or however it might be. We could say positive, or we could say perhaps poor, for example. So in this one, we're now going to say, wow, that's a really insightful comment there, but it's also quite important that we understand a bit more about that. So we could put that in a group, and we could now open up a new wall on this. We just press that icon at the bottom of that group, and we could say, why is it poor, for example. So this is where we can show vWALL creating a topic and a post from, and if we had lots of people saying it was poor, we could say, why is it poor? And now we refresh that, and we can go deeper content on why was it poor, and we could now fill this wall with more content around exactly that issue. So that's how you can create groups around a particular subject. Sorry, I've just popped out of that wall there. Let's go back into it again. And remember, the delegates wouldn't have seen that because they would have only been in this function here. So it just gives you some comfort on that basis. What else could we do on this wall? Well, quickly, we can find out colors of posts. So if we wanted to ask people to perhaps post negative comments in yellow, positive comments in pink, undecided comments in blue, and then as a tool, we can find all the yellow posts and put those in a group. For example, let's find all the blue posts, and we can put those in a group, etc., etc. We could also, perhaps if we were really had loads and loads of comments in here, we got really confused, or we just couldn't see the wood from the trees, we could use the search function. I'm now going to try to ask it to find the word 8, and it's now seen that I've got 4 mentions to that, so I can actually pull those out of that group because I've missed some, and I can now put those 4 in a separate group like that. So that's how you can use the search function. The search function will only search on a full word, but it could, for example, search on progression and progress. If it's looking for the word progress, it would find that word as part of the word progression, but remember that it only looks for specific words. Okay, I think that is just about everything on the wall. The only other thing is that you can actually promote topics to other places. So if we were, for example, using this question here, what are some of the middle term things we should be doing. Or this one, I've started this one already. If we wanted to make a project tool out of this, let's just put a bit more content into this. Party, perhaps rebrand, signage. I'm just messing around here with some things that we could do. So on this one now, in terms of a project wall, you can see again, we've made a bit of a mess there. We just tidied that up. And then we could start to call these. Let's just say we're going to call this one, we're going to call that November. And we're going to call this one December. And we can now start to make a project plan based on pulling these items into particular months. So we say to the group, okay, when do we want to do our signage? We do it in November or December, and we could do it that way so that you start to build a project plan from it. The alternative is that you could put these into another wall. So I'm going to say, okay, when are we going to do the fire plan? We're going to put that into a group. And now I can promote that to another wall that we've already loaded in. So I'm going to move it, and I'm going to say we're going to do that in November that way. So you can either build walls within a wall, or you can put them to a separate place. So if we wanted to actually elevate this one and say, okay, this is December activity, I'm now going to actually move December, and I'm going to put it over there to December that way. So that's how you can move things around within a group. And let's just say on this particular one, I've got actually got a couple in here. So let's move these back. That's how you pull things back out of the dustbin. And you can actually order the groups. So you can make sure the sequencing falls in the right way. So you can see there when we've created the groups, there was some slight sequencing errors. So we can move those around. So we can promote November above December, and they'll now fall into the report in the right sequence from a Excel perspective. And just tidy that up, and there you go, September, October, November, December. So that's how you run vWALL from start to finish, really. At the end of it, you stop, and you can press this, the stop button, and all that does is that it means it's stopped. You can reopen it and start to continue to post. If you press reset, it means it literally gets rid of everything on that session. We don't really encourage too many resets because it loses everything on the session. I'd rather that we advocate that you create a new session as opposed to resets. But once you do stop, you can open it up again because it's in complete or live or new session. So if you simply reopen it, it now falls back into a live session. Your complete sessions will sit in the wall tool for vWALL for as long as you wish. There is no expiry date on these. They'll only be deleted when you decide to delete them. And from a security perspective, the administrator of vWALL can never actually see any of your content because it is uniquely password protected with your own individual password. Once you have stopped the session, you can then press reports, and it then brings you a lovely report up based on your own particular logos. If you did want to personalize your logo, you could have done this before or afterwards, and you can change the logo, and you could upload your own image, or you can just bring in something that's already in your toolkit, and it now can personalize everything that comes out of the report. So if I'm going to press a PDF, you can see the report is going to now open up, and there it is. It just brings everything up from the session for you. Remember, it doesn't bring the Wordle in, but everything else that you see there, it would have already loaded in. The full license gives you PDF, Word, and Excel. If you are on a trial version, you only get the PDF. If you wanted to upgrade from trial for simply 1 month, it's a £16 one-off charge to get a Word or an Excel report in those items. That's really it for the starting off with a vWALL session. I hope you enjoyed that quick demo. We are here to help you. There are some other video tools and a full text version in the help function, but please enjoy vWALL, share it with your friends, and let's get collaborating and sharing in a psychologically anonymous way. Thank you.